In this video tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate some basic tools for you guys to model a structure like this. So at the end of this video tutorials, you should be able to model something like this and you have the basic knowledge about structure modeling. Before we get started, let's first create a file. You can always come over here, File, and New. Since we're going to model the structure, instead of using other template, I'm going to use the structure template. Especially for those people, eventually, you are interested in doing some structure analysis. This is the best way to go about your structure modeling. But for our class, it's not going to be a big deal. But anyway, since we are going to model structure, we just use the structure template, and at least we can see some differences. Let's hit OK. Now you can see, comparing with the other template, this one has an additional level 1 analytical and level 2 analytical, which is used for structure analysis. For our course, we are not going to talk about those things. We can completely delete those. It's not going to be a big deal. Before we do any structure modeling or any building modeling, we need to create a grid, especially now we are going to model some structure members, so the grid lines would be helpful. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to model a grid line like this showing the screen. This is the grid line for the plan view, and this is the grid line for elevation view. You guys can always download this lecture note for Revit class from Canvas. So you can see those dimensions for the grid line. Some of you guys may wonder which level should I create grid lines. Honestly, it does not really matter. If you create one grid line from level 2, you should be able to see that from level 1 as well. Let's click the Structure tab, and since level 2 is highlighted, so we are on level 2. I'm going to first model the vertical grid line. Of course, you don't really need to do a complete, straight grid lines. There are other tools for you to choose. Let's just first pick grid. And for this exercise, we're just going to use straight lines. But of course, you can use other different lines. Let's first draw the one vertical grid line. And since we already finished the first line, the second line we can completely use pick line as we showed in other video lectures. I want to offset this by 19 feet and 8 inches. And the other 3 lines I want to 23 feet apart. Instead of using pick lines, of course, you can use other tools. So for instance, if we would like to use a copy, let's say we want to use the copy tool and copy, and then we can just pick this is the kind of like reference. Then we move to this, and we can do another one. Now we've got 7 lines for the vertical grid lines, and if we would like to move this a little bit. Oh, that can give us a little more space. Now let's work with the vertical grid lines. Go to structure and grid. So instead of using numbers, now I want to use letters. I will change this to a. The remaining grid lines are going to be automatically changed as letters. It looks like grid line is much easier to work with. Pick line is a little bit easy to work with. I'm going to use that. Grid lines, pick lines. Now I want to offset this by 19 feet and 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, and the remainings are going to be 23 feet apart. 1, 2, 3. Since this is the view symbol icon, I want to move this around. Hold on. I want to select this and get this move out of the way. For others, we have the same. And I want to stretch this a little bit since everything is already locked. So if I just move this bubble, or the bubble, I'm going to be moved as well. So now I think I'm happy with this grid line. The plan view, if we go back to level 1, you should be able to see that as well. In the next video, I'm going to show you the way to create grid lines in the elevation view. Since we use this tool in mass modeling, if you guys don't want to watch this, you can skip that video. That's completely fine. But at least you need to get the dimensions of the elevations from the Word document that I posted in Canvas.